What is up, everybody? It is time to do our third VOD reviews. This will be pretty fun. We have Sentinels and we have Immortals, and we've got them on Bind. Quite a few people actually asked us to do this one, so pretty excited to see exactly what we have to dig into. But today, of course, joining me like in the previous episodes, we've got Sean and Mike. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Pretty good. I just plowed some food, which is why we're running like a minute or two late right now. Sorry, guys. That's all my fault. I'm gonna take the blame. Other than that, I'm just excited to nerd out with the new Agent Killjoy. Just trigger people with turrets. How about you, Mike? What do you? How are you?
I can't wait. So I'm just like lurking through a site, and then like some little frog jumps up on me, explodes for half HP. Then I get shot by a turret. Then I plant, and there's like a molly like bee swarm that just kills me out of nowhere. It's gonna be great.
I really hope the turret like detects people through smokes. That would be awesome, dude. I would literally want you in all of my queues, Mike. Just dropping smokes around my turret
Oh
and just
yeah.
cheesing people. Okay, that's all I had to say.
I hope we get. When are we getting more info on Killjoy? Do we know?
They made the video today, so I think
Oh,
it'll
okay.
probably be whenever the act drops, so in about a week or two, I would assume.
Nice.
Yeah, I think pretty soon.
Interesting. Well, hopefully it's before the next episode of Immortal Minds on Saturday, where we break down that kind of stuff. But today's business is going to be all about this game on Bind between Sentinels and Immortals. We haven't done Bind yet, actually. I think we done. Yeah, we did
Ascent and
different map every
Haven.
week before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had Haven
right.
and us.
Okay, so we're missing Split and Bind. So this was a really interesting game, quite a fun one actually to go through. There's a lot of familiar faces for sure in this one, and I think as Mike and myself, we kind of went pretty in depth in trying to make sure we could have more of a condensed version of the episode today. So we're actually looking not at like every round by round by round by round, but instead we're just going to highlight a few and try to nerd out a bit more on those particular rounds. So we're going to start off on the third round. So, Mike, perhaps you can introduce this one for us.
Yeah, here I'll skip ahead here and hopefully YouTube just doesn't break right away. So, third round, I really like how Sentinels play, honestly, in terms of trying to get really aggressive on their defensive side. And you're going to see Sinatra be going through teleporters all the time. So, I'll just give a little bit of a breakdown before we actually start it. So, they ran this play twice on their defensive half, where they set up Sinatra to go through the B-Long teleporter, and then Sick and I think Zoms, that's right, will also be crunching through showers at the same time. So they're going to get this nice showers crunch, so let's play it forward.
This is really sick. Yeah.
And then they get all this info and they can instantly rotate off showers, and that forces Immortals just straight into a B play here.
I like this kind of stuff quite a lot as well because I think there's a lot of teams that are defaulting where there's maybe just going to be a cipher towards the A side of the map, so you get quite a lot of control immediately.
Wow, that's actually insane. I actually thought Sinatra was ulted at first, but he just ran
Just go
through the
for it, man.
tele.
Yeah. He has the timing down really nicely as well as to like precisely when you can throw the
Yeah.
flash before the door even opens because he knows the door's about to open and stuff. It's actually really nicely executed. It's super clean.
Yeah. Mike, do you want to replay this round real quick?
Sure.
I kind of want to just like run it back and just see like how Immortals reacted to this. So the second that guy dies, well, I'm curious, like right now, he's obviously gonna have his teammates calm to him that someone came through the telly. He's gonna know a guy's in the telly. He's gonna die to that guy because he's blind. So it looked like they were just gonna go directly into a B strat anyway. You could see Cypher put both of his trips around A, and that's because this was just going to be a B strat right from the get-go. But he gets immediately pinched, and now they just speed it up massively. Like you could see it might have been a slower strat because you can slow down with those trips. But once that guy goes through the telly, this has to be sped up a lot. And he's probably calming 3 people over there as well. So they know it's a 4-on-2 in this B site. I love the reaction. Like they're actually very, very fast to react to this, which is the right play.
We can even go back a little bit because there is one thing I want to point out well as many things. This is a really cool round. We go back to the point when they're actually just hitting into the B site and we see the smokes and the wall come down. I really like how they actually pulled this one off as well because they are forced into this execute a little bit more quickly than they'd like. They've got the smoke that drops first immediately on the elbow position, and then the sage wall to block any push through the smoke. But not only does it block the push through the smoke, it allows like multiple elevations for this
Yeah.
peak onto the cubby guy. And then the next thing for the sage is that she can look over the smoke and she gets the kill into Shaz as well. So you get to look over that smoke. So that's actually a really awesome set piece, even though it's very simple.
That Sage played that so well. Like you said, like the elevation peak on Pocket, not immediate because it's very easy in that scenario as Sage to just ignore Pocket and go immediately to looking over the elbow smoke. But like it was Bjor, and he carefully cleared out Pocket, and then he turned and got that elbow kill. That was really, really well done. Because most Sages will just wall that and run to sight. So even thinking to do that, that's definitely something they probably went over ahead of time, but I love it. That's really cool.
And we actually have to go back again because for a couple more points because even though that execute, which was sort of forced because of the Sinatra push, it's also the case that they actually end up losing this round, even though they get some really clean entries. Immortals do into this bomb site. In fact, we're covering that how we get the Sage Wall going up, and they manage to clear out both the pocket player, sorry, the elbow player and the pocket player, and so it looks like there should be a really good position here. But one of the key things is that the Sentinels are able to very quickly retake hookah. And this is one of the main reasons why they're able to kind of segment the site to go for the retake. I'm not sure we get really good like cameras for this to see it first person,
I
but it's
enlarged the
actually mad
mini
that they
map
really stick
for it.
around. Yeah.
I mean, part of the problem here is just how this B exec is designed. And I'm not sure if this is like any anti-strat work at all, or if this is just Sentinels playing on the fly. But the fact that they opted to go through the telly and immediately rotate to B instead of rotating through spawn is actually quite rare, in my opinion. Like they might know that the B hit is heavy through long with like 3 people, so that way it's very easy to retake hookah. But if there was like 2 people hookah, that telly rotate would have sucked. But there wasn't 2 people hookah. So like that's either a very good and like small anti-strat, like hey, when we retake B, it's actually beneficial for us to go through telly because the raise is there solo. Like that could be an anti-strat, but it also could be just the speed of the round, like because the round was happening very quickly, so you can kind of pounce on people. Either way, it's a good play by them to go through the telly.
And this oh sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say the one final point I can think of for this round, which is a really interesting point, is that if we think about how the action was forced by Sinatra's push and the fact they had like that was a 3-man push towards the A side of the map out of showers telly, then that forced the B play, it's really cool because there's still like full utility on the defense, which is very favorable, obviously, typically, if you have full utility to retake bomb sites. And the B site is definitely very retakeable if you have the position to do it. So it's an interesting idea that you can put yourself in a position where you're able to retake with full utility. So I don't know if that's something that they thought about is a benefit of running those kinds of plays, but it's certainly going to be a really good way to win around with your retakes. And there's lots of retakes in this particular demo.
Nice.
So I guess with that said, I don't know if I think there's a lot happening that round. We can
Yeah, there's
go
so
on to
much
the next one
happening
if you
there.
want to. Round 4 is the next one we have highlighted here that Mike emboldened on the dock. So this is so this is the first round where we really see Immortals running their defaults. And their default usually looks like they have just Cypher just lurking towards the A side of the map, and they have Raze pressuring Hookah, and they have the Sova droning up the B long position. And typically it's met with mostly like pretty much always, I think, that a Sage will slow from the B site to make sure that the default's kind of slowed down a little bit. But this is around that. This is an opening that repeats many times from Immortals. So let's play it out and see how it goes.
Yeah, this is actually the same thing that they did that other round we just watched. Cypher is going to double trip the A flank. He's going to probably solo work shower again. Yep, there it is.
I found it
It
kind
really
of
can.
weird too because Sick breaks the cam outside of showers and instantly rotates, so I didn't know if they had like a read on like the past round. They're like, oh, they're doing a similar thing, or if they're like doing demo work and found that out before.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, he rotated right away when he shot that cam. Now that could be like for a couple reasons, right? Like when you shoot that cam like that, no one's gonna peek into you. So you know you have like several seconds to probably rotate towards B. He's now rotating back towards A. Now that would be like a fantastic read by Sick if that was the case. I don't know. I'm more inclined to think that there's a little bit of anti-stratting here, but that either way, that's really good rotates by him.
Yeah, and it's a really cool round as well because I feel like the reactions from the defense of Sentinels is pretty good in this spot as well. Because we saw that they had Sinatra just flashing around the B long corner, just like really slowing down the progression up B long, which actually creates a problem because it puts Immortals in this position where they don't have enough B long pressure yet. And yet Asuna, who's working the raise in the hookah position, gets isolated because of this. And it allows the defense Sentinels to just easily focus all their efforts on just taking down Asuna and hookah. So then they just have this only the single prong to work the attack from. So in this, I feel like Sentinels controlled this round so well. Even though Immortals were just like trying to default and trying to get the side pressure, they just couldn't when they needed it.
Yeah, I don't this round is part of the reason why I think that Cypher and Sova in the game in general are a little bit weird. They make the game operate very, very differently than CS just because of those two agents. Because the Cypher is able to trip up short A, so that way he can solo lurk showers. He throws the cam to showers. Six sees the camera and knows the value of the camera, like I said. So it's not like they're going to hit A. So he rotates towards B. But that also could be because Sova's droning up B, and a lot of people follow the drones into the sites. Like, just like the quirkiness those two agents caused in this round is very odd already. I'm curious to see like how they're going to exec right now through long, or if they take the telly.
This is what I like about Sentinels too. It's like they get the pick on Asuna going solo to get hookah control, and immediately you have Dapper and Sinatra pushing through hookah like towards market. Just keep gaining control over and over and gain more info.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, completely agree. Like, it's such a good way to play against these defaults. We're going to see that the issue from Immortals, they're going to basically try to force the issue into the B site here because it's the only control they really have at this point, and they've lost a player. And it's a nice pickup by Thief, but we're going to see Sentinels just have a very good use of their utility here. And these forward positions cause so many issues. So they'll finally make their way through the B long area. Shazam there. It's going to get walled off. Sinatra just flashing through. The hot hands goes out as well to kind of delay the push onto the site. And there's just no ground really to work with for Immortals. It's going to be quite a struggle.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought for sure what was going to happen just now would have been really sick because Shazam's playing Sova at the elbow, and there was people stuck in hookah behind a smoke, and Shazam was also stuck behind a smoke, I believe. And I thought he was going to recon arrow like high above hookah, and then obviously
Yeah.
one of the two people would have been able to spam someone through the smoke because they would have gotten recon through it. That would have been so sick.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like, yeah, I completely agree. Like the Sovas in those situations when the site taker's coming in and there's smokes everywhere, Sova's recon dart is just like when you're playing Sova, it feels like so sick
Yeah.
to throw that high recon dart.
It's pretty OP when you're playing like the elbow position like Shazam is. I think elbow is an excellent spot for Sova to be during because the exec, like
Yeah.
if you tag a guy with a recon or a drone through the smoke elbow, things become very, very weird for the attacking team. Like if you tag the planter, that guy's not going to plant. Like he's going to wait that out. That allows your rotate to come in. It totally breaks the flow of the round by having a Sova at elbow. So I like that like attention to detail from Sentinels.
Yeah, and the last point I'll add there as well to the success of Sentinels is like Mike said, because they get that kill on Asuna, they understand that if they can maintain hookah control, even if they lose the site, they're totally fine because they can have 3 positions to retake from. Because as Sean just said as well, they had Shazam still alive in playing elbow. So sure that Immortals can get onto the site through B long, but they have no position to work the plant from at all. Even if they got the bomb down, there's nowhere to stand. So really awesome. That's an amazingly well played round by Sentinels, just showing how active playing proactively can really pay off. And which round should we go on to next, Mike? Should we go straight to round 6?
Yeah, we'll skip ahead to round 6 because round 5 was just kind of like a eco buy. So round 6, we're going to see another default out of Immortals, and Sentinels are going to recognize this pretty much right off the bat with the util they throw, and they're going to try to expose Thief the Cypher outside of bathrooms for once.
This is literally the same default that we've seen. It's like rinse and repeat right now from Immortals.
It's just amazing that we get these answers constantly. Like, it definitely seems like Sentinels did their homework, just like having these pushes just to punish the player on the extremity in the default. This is like a very Counter-Strike concept as well, where you may do like a 2-man push on an extremity, expecting that that's where that team is going to have someone defaulting and trying to get pressure, but you commit him into a fight he can't win.
Yeah. I can tell at this point in the game, yeah, it definitely seems like Sentinels did their homework coming into this match. And there's some like anti-shredding going on here. Like between the going through the telly on that first round and then doing the same like kind of like rotate in that next round from sick. And then now this round pushing through short A. It's just like they know that Thief is there all by himself. And that's a huge flaw in this setup. I love it. Like this is great.
It's cool as well because, as you say, like, just it adds to the fact that they must have done the homework because they understand how important hookah control is, and we see it here as well, whereby Dapper does manage to he's able to confidently sit in a very exposed position towards hookah and takes a 1v1. And it's like, if you ever expect that there's gonna be multiple players there, you might not want to play that in that same fashion because he would get traded out. But he's confident enough to maintain hookah control, and it's so destabilizing for the Immortals push that's forced through that B long position. And then you've got Shazam here with some very easy lineups towards the bomb site. I don't know if he has any help with like pinging with the map and stuff for the lineup for the Hunter's Fury, but he picks off one. And even though Gangster gets 2 really sick kills there, even though he got that, it was still not doable. So another really good round where it just feels like Sentinels are winning the rounds because they understand how their opponent's going to play and they have players in all of the right positions. Feels like the heavy B long stuff isn't working at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Like I don't know if we're gonna get to see. Are we gonna get to see another round yeah? So round. Or are we gonna go to like round 10 right now, Mike? Is that the next round?
I'm kind of thinking maybe round 8 because this is the first time where they're on a buy round Immortals and they actually try to switch it up off that default and try to go for something else. So let me try to get to that quick.
I wonder if they like leave the default based on ult availability, or if it's just like a feeling thing where they have like pocket strats. I kind of wonder how pro teams operate. I mean, I'm sure every team has their own theories. That's the thing about this game being so new. Like just the fact that teams might not even have that idea, like of doing different strats based on ult availability.
Basically, this time they're going to switch up, and the Cypher is going to do all the same stuff outside A, and Sentinels are going to do the shower crunch. They're not going to see anything because they're going for like a double hookah 3 long B split just to change up the pace a bit because Thief was just getting caught out the entire time before.
Yeah, so this time he's actually just going. It actually is their default. It is their default. It's just Thief he has like a lot of freedom, I'm sure, as the lurker, and he opted to just go hookah. And then they just sped it up probably when they heard the telly. So this is cool. This is like Immortals adapting. They're still doing like the same shit every round. It's just they're adapting throughout this game a little bit, right? At the start, Thief contested showers a little bit. He got caught. Then the next round, he cammed it. And then Sick rotated. There's a lot of like little mind games. And then this round, he's like, all right, you know what? Fuck lurking A. I'm just going to go hookah this round with you guys. They probably heard the telly noise and everything got sped up a lot. because they read that being the same type of round. That's insane, actually. That's really cool that we've got to see like 3 of similar rounds.
Yeah, it's cool to see like the change of pace and those adaptations, as you say. And it seems like it still feels like even with that, that's and despite that round win, that Sentinels still like have they're just like ahead in the chess game so far. And again, I think for me, one of the best things is seeing some of the aggressions around the map. There are a lot of teams that play very passively, but I think in this game we've talked about it a bunch of times. There's like so many options that you have to synergize your agents to do like mini aggressions in places and really mix it up a lot. So really fun to see that. Um, I guess we can go to round 10 now, unless you have another idea, Mike. And if we feel like we're really blasting through stuff quickly, we have a lot of other rounds where we have like cool little things which we can kind of show after the fact. So
Yeah, we'll skip to round 10 here, where they kind of get a read with Shazam's drone early outside B long here. He does a recon dart and a drone at the start, and then Sinatra is able to rotate off. Because they go for like a B, or Immortals go for like a B long presence early, just to make sure no one's pushing, and then they all rotate off in the first like 10 seconds for A control.
So yeah, Asuna got like full hookah control. He knows he did because he used all of his abilities as raise, which means that shit is clear. I don't like the speed at which they're approaching this round right now. But now they're gonna re-clear hookah. This is very interesting coming out of Immortals.
I kind of like to see the fact that they one of the adaptations here is that they go out of their default into like a or they walk back to do a hookah explosion because we've kind of talked about it a few times. That position's kind of been exploited by Immortals that or sorry by Sentinels that on the defense that they've learned this through watching demos or whatever it is that they don't have to have a heavy setup on hookah. They can actually just put one guy there a lot of the time and that's it's fine to just they'll get warning they can slow things down. But this is a round where it's an explosion out of hookah where they don't give away any sound cues or any information till the last possible second, really. And this is really cool because we're going to see Asuna make an awesome play or attempt to at the very least. And Asuna with the satchels getting into the sides, he does a pretty good job in this game, but it's a pretty hard fought game because you can see like Dapper's playing this really, really well. This time he actually gets the better of Asuna. There's a lot of times where Asuna probably could get that kill, but between him and Shazam, they actually don't miss a single shot. So there's not too much you can do about it. But at the same time, I think that the idea to explode out of hookah like that and contact it out, I think that was a smart adjustment. I don't know if you agree, Sean, with that one.
I actually disagree. I think that was a horrible round from Immortals. Like I actually think that was a horrible round. So like go back to the start, Mike, and I kind of want to just watch
Break
radar
it
right
down
now.
bit by bit.
Yeah. So like they initially let the recon clear all outside of B, right? Like Shazam got all the info that like no one was there. And then Asuna throws all of his utility into hookah, but doesn't actually go in hookah. There could still be a guy top site looking into hookah. There could still be a guy in the corner ready to hop into hookah after Asuna's shit. And like there could be an op posted on it. There could be so many things still going on in hookah or around hookah for information. So they got no info. For some reason, they do nothing by A right now. Like there's literally just nothing going on. Like Sage is holding top mid, Sova's there, 2 guys are going shower. So they have no control of hookah, no control of long B. They have no info right now. They have nothing. They're about to just enter the dark for no reason. So they back off of this A strat. I don't know why. I don't know what caused them to leave that A strat after wasting utility in hookah. That recon lets Shazam know he's totally safe from long A for the next 15 seconds. They're still going to go in that window. This guy top site literally should have gotten a kill. Like this round was just horrible from Immortals. Like their utility usage was really bad.
I think I have an answer as to like why they made the rotation, or at least an idea. And I think within the context of this game, what they could have been possibly doing, especially with having Rays clearing hookah and so on, is maybe they were trying to make it feel like a default that just a slower default, and they're showing, hey, we got this raise, like throwing stuff into hookah and so on. And meanwhile, the rest of the team is playing towards A. Maybe they're expecting an aggression that they want to punish, like punish an info player or an act, some kind of like Sinatra push, like he has been doing, and then they get to just charge into the site if they get those picks. That
Dude,
may have been it, but then it never came. So then they just like, well, we'll just go into the B play then. But yeah, it's not
uh,
like, I mean, it's one possible reason.
so the way they entered B just now too, Asuna blast packing through a cage into the site solo. Like, no one's even close to him at that point, by the way. No one's close to him. He has a Sova on his team. He has a Cypher on his team, right? He could have followed the drone out. He could have shot a recon into backside. The Sova had his ult. I'm not sure if that was after the kill, though. Like, he might have gotten it after that kill he got, the garbage time kill. Like, the Sova could have blind ulted the site. The Cypher could have thrown a cam in. There's so many things you can do to not just blindly have to blast pack out of hookah and like pray for the best, and like 3 people are stuck behind you inside hookah. I just didn't like what I saw that round. I don't know. I don't think it was very thought through, and I think it was like a lot of on the fly reads, and they didn't even have like the preparation of doing a 4 hookah shot. It looked like it looked like it was just on the fly.
Yeah, do you think the same thing, Mike? It's like sort of looked on the fly.
Yeah, and my other thing is like I could definitely see it if because like at the end their Sova ganks is lurking towards A short, and I could understand if they're trying to like fake that late default thing and then try to do a hookah pop. Like if he's like, okay, I'm gonna rotate from A and then I'm gonna recon dart B long or something, just something to put pressure on the B long guy, just so he like, because Shazam doesn't even have to look there because he recon darts while they're walking up to hookah. So he doesn't even have to feel any pressure that entire time. Another thing with hookah pops is you really have to have like really coordinated utility, which they didn't have. They kind of just smoke spawn and then jumped out with a blast pack, which just isn't coordinated enough.
Yeah. I mean, think about the angles you have to look at when you jump out of hookah. Like a guy could peek you from pocket, a guy could peek you from mid sight by pocket, a guy could peek you from the left side of tube, a guy could be elbow, a guy could be garden where Shazam was, a guy could be rotating spawn.
Under the window as well.
Under the window as well, yeah. Like there's so many angles to worry about when you jump out of hookah. That's why previously throughout this demo so far, Immortals have gone like super heavy long B because everything's in front of you, right? You're running up long B, you're clearing pocket, you're looking sight, you're looking elbow. Like you can clear those things out one by one, and you don't have to jump into just, complete unknown, right? That's why teams are always going to have people going through long. And that's why pro teams are probably always going to have the majority of their hits go through long, like the majority of people. I don't want to say blindly like it'll always be like that, but it's definitely, it looks like angle wise it's better to send more people long, and that's the reason.
Well, just that and like post plant reasons too. Like I think Valorant's really different than CS because you need control of other areas in post plant. You can't just get by with playing crossfires on these sites, especially B site because it's just so barren. And I think just playing from hookah like after plant just isn't enough, especially if you never try to clear out B long at all. Like it's one thing if you had some sort of like execute designed, so you when you get out hookah you could clear B long at the same time, but you're just leaving yourself prone to so many angles like you said earlier.
Yeah,
All right. Well, with that said,
that's interesting.
into round 11, I guess. So this is another round where I believe we see Immortals trying to go for a similar approach on their default, but there's more responsibility out of Shazam to be a bit more active around B long with his operator, which he hasn't really done too much. And I think it's probably because there's been so much B long in the way of B long shenanigans. So
Yeah.
we're gonna actually see him instantly delete the drone with the operator, I believe. I think actually Shaz has done this kind of peek up before with the arrow, and he drones himself to get some info. So again, I like this, just like active all the time in Sentinel's defense.
That's interesting.
And Sinatra pops his ult too and goes through the short TP, so he's gonna get info on all these guys outside hookah and even gets a frag right away.
Yeah, this is actually so mad.
Holy
I think he
shit.
actually, is this a round where he runs through as well? Or is that a different round? No, it's a different round. Yeah, that's huge. He actually rotates straight away through spawn as well to assist the B site.
That's really sick. Did he just blind ult him because of the fact that Shaz was droning? Like he knew where his body had to be? That's pretty sick, if that's the case.
They might have been just trying to catch Asuna by himself as well, because they knew he was solo taking hookah before, but... This was really weird too, because I didn't pause it in time, but on this retake, so Sinatra is rotating towards elbow, and Sick just runs out through CT spawn, even though like no one's in position, because Sinatra is both smoked and walled off in elbow. I just thought it was kind of weird that he just runs out and they lose their 3v4, where it's at least somewhat redeemable. They still make this super close though with their retake nades, because Immortals kind of over peak from hookah.
Yeah, this was weirdly successful. Obviously they don't actually win the rounds, but because they can't defuse in time. But with just that one brim smoke, just some decent peaks and shots, they actually managed to just get so many 1v. I think they just get just 4 1v1s
Damn,
basically.
this is so close, dude.
And if actually Zoms holds that to halfway, if he has time to do that, he might have been able to win this round actually.
Holy shit. That's so close.
Yeah, they were like in this hopeless 2v4. I don't know, don't know how it actually got that close. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it got that close because I mean, I guess they're called Sentinels in this game, right? Like Cypher and Sova. That's like their title.
Mm-hmm.
That's super. I was gonna call them that, and I was like, wait, they're playing this. That's so confusing. But those two guys on Immortals in that post plant should be the ones locking that round in, like 100%, right? There should be a Cypher cam in the site, like telling you when and where to peak. There should be a Sova dart doing the same thing, right? Like those guys lock down post plants if they play their util correctly. But they didn't. Like the Cypher hid in like a corner where he got spammed out. And I don't even know if the Sova was alive, to be honest. I don't know if he was one of the 4. I don't remember.
That was one of the rounds when I remember like going over it before the show today. I was just like had to like rewatch it so many times because I have no idea what the hell's going on because it's just like so hard to track. Just like all of the entry kills, the ults going off, the Hunter's Fury,
Yeah.
just like all kinds of stuff happening.
I mean, this match was from a while back, like 2 weeks ago. So I'm sure
Yeah.
Immortals worked on a lot, but Sentinels look way better so far in this demo. Like way better to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have a lot more. It looks like they've done more preparation, that they have more positions to succeed, and that they're being really proactive and in the right ways. It's fun to like see how that works out. And are we going to round 12 now? Which round are we on? I'm lost now.
We're on round 12 now.
Okay, yeah. Okay, this is the awesome Sinatra round where it just goes like balls to the wall, aggressive.
Dude,
Again,
he's so fun to watch. He's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
he really is. I've had a lot of fun like stealing stuff from him as well, from the days when he was playing a lot of Sova.
He just gives up like no ground too, even after he gets a 2k here. He just keeps going with his teammates.
This is just beautiful timing. Spraying through the boombot to get the second kill. And they have 3 players here as well. Like the wall goes down. And this is so cool as well that the wall goes down here. I mean, I don't know like how it works if you can like I presume you can spray through the crate still, but just the fact that that wall allows the space to have like 2 players, like one on either side, is pretty huge, and it just forces the push from Immortals of the remaining players in towards A, and it's obviously like quite hopeless at this point.
Dude. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I mean, the Sentinels look so much better. Like, obviously, we've happened to choose all the rounds they've won, so it's easy to be biased here. But like, they look so prepared. But that round does obviously go a lot different if Sinatra just straight dies. But I'm guessing, go back. Did Sick have a res that last round, Mike?
I'll check quick.
I bet he
I think
does.
he does.
I bet he does, and that's why Sick was there with that wall, Dan. Because
Mhm.
if Sinatra was gonna die, I bet he would have gotten rezzed.
Maybe that's you're right actually. That could very well be the thing where they actually expect that he just goes 1-for-1 or something, but that they still take that because they can play for the res, and that's like the plan.
He didn't have
Oh,
a
okay.
res.
Okay, we just made him sound super
Wow.
smart.
Now that would have actually been 200 IQ if they thought that far in advance. This is
Yeah.
actually just like a ballsy play where like he was just going for an aim battle.
Oh, man, that's the kind of stuff that really excites me about this game, where you can have like you can make specific plays. If it's like the if statements, like if Sage has res, if Phoenix has this, if it's this kind of round, if the opponents are doing this kind of default. I just like love all of the possibilities in this game like that. But yeah, Sinatra basically wins around for them with that 2K, and we've seen him be aggressive with that Phoenix in many rounds. It's really really good to see, and he's always getting the support from his team. And when he's not getting the support from his team, it's because he's got an ult. So, right, are we going straight to round 16 next?
Yeah, they basically converted the pistol and then got a super easy anti-eco, and then they Immortals did like a 3B setup, and Sentinels just tried to contact up B long and got mode. So this is actually an interesting round with Sentinels like a site set piece.
Oh, this was a round where this is a round where I had to look at it also like many times just to see like who is
Yeah.
getting kills from where, because there's just so much crazy. I think there's like a moment where like Cola like just like ults on top of his own head. It's like it's so mad. All right, so we can see that they're just going. There's like no defaulting here. Like you can see where the cipher traps are set up, and you can see also there is Immortals are going for the info play. They actually have the info. This is coming.
Yep.
Not that it's necessarily going to mean too much because it's such a hard hitting set piece.
It's interesting that I'm surprised Kohler didn't smoke off short A.
He always
Because
basically smokes deep showers like every round, like at the start, and never short.
yeah, but it's weird because if you look over by B, it was I believe it was like Sage and Cypher. They immediately peeked long B. Cypher threw that super aggressive cam on the wall, which basically just let him know immediately no one's coming B. So he knew from like 3 seconds into this round, this is definitely gonna be an A strat. So Kohler should have smoked short A off, so that way they could rotate more people. You see what I'm saying? Like, but he
Yeah.
didn't. That's a fuck up in my opinion.
And it allows Sinatra to get it like so far up short because they were rotating back from front showers and the Sova barely catches him. So he's all the way up to U-Haul already. And there's just like no utility to delay him at all.
It's a really good punish by abusing the timing there. There's like this good, as you say, like a really good timing to get that punish in terms of gaining the ground quickly.
Dude, Sinatra's so
I
fucking
love watching.
aggressive. Dude, what a maniac. What the fuck? That's so sick. He even threw the molly so that way he could run into it. But he threw it so deep. What the fuck? This guy's a maniac. He's so sick.
Yeah, his Phoenix play is awesome. So Kohler, before we go to his perspective, whilst we see the Phoenix flashes happening, Kohler actually picked up a 2K from this position towards the telly. So that's obviously like a really big deal because he's standing in front of their smokes, and now he's gonna ult on top of his own head. So
No, so Zoms ults him because he knows
oh,
what
okay.
position he's in. And he's so Sick walled off U-Haul after Sinatra pushed through. So he's still stuck in U-Haul and he's ulting him in U-Haul because he's like, okay, I know they
Free
walled him
killer.
in there. So basically he has to push spawn into my teammates.
That makes more sense.
But he's getting
I
ult
thought-
at the same time from showers by Zom, so it's double brim ult at the same time.
That's what confused me.
Zom's just brained him so hard by ulting him, huh? That's insane. That's a really good ult by Zoms to push him into him.
If we get like a res at the same time, this is just like so mental this round.
Wow, dude. I can't believe Immortals ended up winning that.
I thought that he like knew someone was showers and like fat fingered it or something initially because I didn't realize the second ult was happening.
what happened for the rest of the retake? That retake happened really fast. Holy shit.
So
Well, they
then
Were they
Sage and
flanking?
Raze came out, and Thief was flanking, yeah, from Market. So
Yeah, because they had the super early info.
yeah.
So like that flank was happening super quick. Wow, dude, Sentinels played that really well, given like given how much info Immortals had. Dude. Like if Immortals didn't happen to like push through B right there so quickly, like that aggro cam, that take would have worked for sure. But because like Immortals had like a free pass to push through B like that, it was that's what sealed the deal that round.
Yeah, I love to see that too, because considering how like Sentinels really had so much success on their defense because they were so active, it's good to see that Immortals also benefit from also like actually being really active, and it's like quite early on too. So in this second half, so it's good to see. Right. So we had that mad set piece on A, and we didn't. I think that's like the first. I think it's Sentinels that are the only team in this match of Bind so far that on the attack we've really seen going and prioritizing A set pieces at all. On the first half, Immortals were really focused on B almost all the time. So getting some diversity with that. And they really like there's just like having that the wall of smokes on the site, the ones that we saw in the previous round. That's something I think we're going to see again. We're going into round 17 now, and it looks like you put a note on this one, Mike, so I'm gonna let you take this one away.
yeah, so this is Sentinel's kind of eco here, and Dapper's gonna cam in the hookah. But this camera from Thief, this is how Cypher should like place their cameras. This is gonna be so sick when it comes up here. So Dapper cams in, he gets the info, and we're gonna see Thief's camera in a second. They're droning in. Should see the camera in like the next 5 seconds, I think. Yeah, so this camera. So think about you're clearing hookah, and if they don't tag you with this, how are you going to like clear this? They clear it later because they find out where he places it, but that's just a straight 90-degree angle up in the air that you have to clear like every time. Like that's how you should be playing a Cypher. Because even if you don't tag them, you have all the info in the world, and who's just going to look straight up at the ceiling above the entrance where they came from? Like, I wish more Cyphers would play like this, because you always see them put it on that opposite wall to see outside hookah. Like, oh, I wonder who's peeking outside the teleporter. But this way, it's like you can keep this up there for the entire round, and he's not even going to tag any of them for a long time. He's just going to watch them.
I gotta say as well, like on the note of cameras, I actually liked how on the defense on the attack, sorry, that Sentinels used the initial Cypher camera too, and they took it down and then sent the drone in. I thought that was
Holy
really
shit.
cool.
I was talking without holding up my mic key. I thought it was
Oh,
thought it was just on
sorry.
like a call, my bad. But yeah, that cam is insane, dude. Like that is a really good cam. And I'm sure people are gonna say, like, oh, well, he has to activate it, you would be able to hear it. But he would probably sit in it and like not activate it. He's not like he's gonna be like popping in and out of that cam. Like that is something very difficult to deal with. That's so annoying.
Yeah, we've talked about that like a few times about how we hope eventually Cyphers, especially on the defensive side, will think about playing more of that way, because it's kind of like, depending on how late in the round is, you kind of have like one shot with your cam unless it gets destroyed really early into the round for info. If you get your cam shot like mid-round because they're execing or like defaulting late, you're just relying on your trips and your cages at that point.
Dude, what if you had like a brimstone on your team, right? You just like sat in that cam, right? So say like that scenario happened again, right? Where those guys enter hookah and the Cypher's on his cam and sees them, and the Cypher's just like, all right, smoke hookah now. And if that guy leaves hookah at that point, then you stack A. And if that guy stays hookah at that point, you stack B.
Oh yeah, that's really smart.
Like that is the potential of that cam. Like you kind of like bait people into shit like that. Like they actually have to go in there and look straight up to find it, because you could pull shit off like that. that's so insane, actually.
That's really cool.
Cypher and Sova suck. They literally suck, bro. Like that sucks. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's fucking lame. Okay. Holy cow, that's a good cam. That's a really good cam.
Okay. So what do we have next here, Mike? Round 18.
18, so let me look again. I think Dapper just cams A short at the start of the round for info. And then they go, I think they triple peek B long Immortals with a cam to get aggressive info. I think they start, or Sentinels start recognizing too that every round Kohler's just smoking off the end of showers. I don't think they try to take advantage of it this round, but they're like recon darting to try to make sure he's not just pushing in and taking advantage of that smoke every time.
Yeah, there's pretty good pressure actually from Sentinels in this round. It feels like Immortals want to get aggressive on B long though, or at least like get info there because Sage and Cypher are ready to. So they also want the ability to like go through the telly as well, given that there's been so much showers pressure. They go for the walk all the way down and ooh,
This
the
is the
timing.
biggest timing ever.
Dude, I want to quickly point out like how impactful Shazam's round has been so far. Like he went shower at the start and recon behind that smoke, so that way the guy had to leave showers, right? Because someone could easily come through the smoke and kill you. He then went back to short A, droned up, saw the setup, then he shock darted the Cypher trip on short A. That is like how he just started this round. He basically totally fucked up this A setup all by himself because now they're both playing super passive and they don't have info and they don't have a trip. That's sick. But yeah, this is very unfortunate for Dapper.
It's kind of unreal actually.
Yeah, they still catch Bior out there.
Oh.
And then Asuna TPs, which I still not sure about that because they smoke off A short, but at the same time, you don't really have a lot of room to flank. And then Thief really screws up his flank here. I've done this way too many times now.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's rough. He had a lot more time than he thought he did, perhaps, to like maybe get that kill. And that's a rough one. Yeah, really good forward positioning as well from Sentinels. So it just really makes it so impossible when you get this much when you shut that down the round like this, where they can't even get through CT or Heaven, and that's the only places they can come from. It's just it's so hard.
That's really, really good utility usage there by Zoms, dude.
Yeah.
Like taking over a spawn like that, mauling it, and then smoking it again deep. Like, that's really smart by him. It's very unfortunate that he just gets pinged by this dart.
Yeah, I think it's really good counter utility though, instead of just like trying to wait
Yeah.
out that smoke. They're just like, okay, we'll just recon you, figure out if
Yeah.
you're still in that spot.
Yeah, it is a very good idea. Both teams played this pretty well so far.
I think they just 4-man retake all out of spawn as well. Like they don't go Heaven or anything.
Sometimes that's the play because like if this one guy is just watching one spot and you can find that in where they did with the recon, this looks pretty good. Shazam though, oh, you almost expect him to hit every shot. He's so good. But it's going to be the case that this retake is going to be looking really good right until Sinatra shows up at the end. So looks a lot better than I thought it would when I was watching this. And you see everyone locked out in CT spawn. It's like, well, they don't manage to actually convert it. So, all right.
I'm trying to decide if we want to hit this round because I was trying to figure out the end here. We'll just do it anyways because they do like a passive default into exec and then they cancel in the last like 15 seconds and do a TP to B. But I was just really confused with Shazam and Dapper. They seemed on very like different pages here at the end. So again, they're trying to make sure that bathrooms guy isn't taking advantage of that smoke or getting any info for free with the recon dart.
It's such a different attacking side compared to.
Did Zoms go through the shower smoke? I can't tell.
Now he is, but it's fade. I
Now
don't
he
think he did at the start.
Okay. So that's good that Kohler then shot that recon like super quickly because Zombs didn't go through the smoke.
So waiting it all out. Using the intel abilities. Looking in for that A set piece. And it looks like Immortals have figured this out as well. They had 3 on B for quite some time in this round.
Dude, look at this Cypher setup right now at B. He's playing Garden in the corner with a cam on the
Oh.
other side.
That molly, by the way, is super strong.
It is. Yeah.
It's such a good, like, that bounce off the wall. I've seen that quite a lot of times now from the top players, and it's like always very effective. Because you can't run through the brim molly, man. It's just so painful.
Yeah, so I just paused it here because this is after their TP. So Zoms was kind of like anchoring from shower just in case for after plant. So now he has to rotate all the way around. He has no other option. And Shazam knows they're low on time, except he just runs straight into the site without really clearing anything, and Dapper's holding flank. So it just seems very like uncoordinated when there's little time on the clock.
Yeah.
Desperation station.
I think it's definitely one of those things where you just think you accounted for everyone and they're all on the like A side of the map. Like Shaz probably thought he had the rotate to the B side like pretty clear based on what happened at A, and he was just wrong. I don't know. That happens sometimes, but yeah, I agree. He was just trying to beat the rotate. I could tell.
I still think, like, regardless, Dapper shouldn't be worried about the flank, especially when you
Yeah.
have trips down behind you. Just, like, go
Yeah.
get hookah control with your teammate.
For sure. For sure. He whoever was behind him should have been running towards him like faster.
Because Zoms is coming from showers anyway, so he can account for the flank regardless of your trips because he has to take the long rotate around. Either way, it's not like he can TP.
I really wish we could. I mean, we'll get there eventually, but I really wish would have more information on the HUD. I think we say that every single time. You know, we're
Yeah.
doing what we can.
It's so hard just like staring at radar and trying to piece together all these things that are
Yeah.
happening, and like
Yeah.
it's awful actually.
Peaks.
Better help.
Peak sent, I think all of us, Sean and I replied to on Twitter, someone made like a fan HUD similar to Counter Strikes with all the money and the graphics and the guns and the util, which was really good.
Oh, I have to check that out.
But yeah, round 20, pretty sure this was just an eco round. But they catch them off guard here really heavily when they just walk into hookah, and Thief and Bijur are just really caught off guard on B. They're just like walking around with their knife out, and then they use 2 of their ults here. Sova and Brim both have their ult. So this is a difference in this game compared to CS. It's like sometimes your ults, if you think you have enough of an edge, you can just like full on win these gun rounds, even though it came down to a really tight 1v1, I'm pretty sure, at the end here.
It's interesting. Again, it's like interesting to see like there's just so little B long play from Sentinels on their offense. I kind of like it, but the hookah focus. And Asuna must be itching to use his ult in this round.
Yeah, this is really interesting that they just showed like no B long presence right there throughout like this entire round. Oh shit.
Oh, so awkward.
Oh my god.
This is one of those spots that just looks so. It's just like you say, they got so badly caught off guard there, and it seemed like they had one guy watching a pixel gap towards B long, but he was not covered at all from hookah, and it's just it seemed like a miscommunication in terms of the repositioning.
Dude, these are my favorite rounds to watch in Pro Valorant, by the way. The rounds where like one team pops like 2 ults and the other team is like, no, and they pop like 3 ults back. Like that, it clearly is like this round means a lot to both of these teams, right? Like Sentinels definitely doesn't want to lose an eco, so they're all just like popping their ults, and they were sitting on those for a little. It's not like everyone just happened to get their ult at like the same time. I think it's just like so sick when like those rounds happen, where like there's 6 ults in one round. It's so insane. Like you're just like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah, it's
Happens
one of
like
the things.
once a match, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's one of those things that doesn't happen too often, but yeah, it's like the whole like ship it all in round is really awesome to see. Well, I think that's like most of the rounds we highlighted. I think that's correct.
Yeah.
So there's definitely quite a few rounds which we didn't highlight that we didn't go through, and I feel like we can definitely have time for a couple more. I know we wanted to condense this episode a little bit more just to see how that would go, and we've hit about an hour now, so um, let's throw a couple more in there. And I'm trying to think what we could actually use because we have quite a few rounds that we didn't embolden, but we did actually use some of them already.
Round 21 is actually decent because now they're going to try to actually challenge Kohler's deep shower smoke pretty early in the round.
Okay, let's just do it. And that probably is something that's not happened enough. I'm actually surprised we didn't see more like shower plays where like you push through the smoke, get people through the telly from B long. But I guess
Yeah.
that's also a luxury of having a Phoenix on your team is to be able to do stuff like that on the defense. But obviously Sinatra's the only Phoenix and he's on the offense right here.
It's so interesting to see like both these teams have clearly very different ideas of how to play attack. One is focusing like heavy on A presence, and the other is focusing heavy on B presence. Like they played very, very different styles.
Yeah, it's definitely something. And like these like wall of smokes that we just saw there just dissipated. That's been very, very commonly used by Sentinels on their offense. And it's really interesting because those smokes can work like a double-edged sword. You can try to run through them with like a flash or something, or you can force the opponents into this decision where either they have to wait for the smokes to go away or they have to challenge through them. And the one thing when when the wall of smokes is up in a sort of retake scenario, is that you get the decision as the team that is on the retake. You either try to like find a way to push those smokes because you are going to feel confident that they're not fully set up in post plant positions yet, and you can catch them off guard, or you wait for the smokes to go away so you don't have to deal with the variance. It's like an interesting, teams obviously approach it differently, but I do like to see that. Good old Shaz. Is it weird for you,
Sovas.
Sean, seeing Shaz sobering in this game? He's been sobering for a long time.
Yeah, he's been pretty good on Sova, dude. He also jets.
I was about to
He's
say,
really good
like,
on jet too.
the operator agents make sense for someone like Shaz.
And he breaches. I think he plays breach
Yeah,
as
he like
well.
started on Breach, I think. That was like
Yeah.
his first one.
He plays a lot of like really good agents, in my opinion, like for like that suit his style.
What do you mean Breach? Breach isn't good. He needs to get buffed.
I was actually surprised that he was breach because it's weird. Like I don't know. It's just like a weird movement agent for an
Mhm.
opper. You know, like I thought he would choose someone else. But he's actually really good with it. Like he's like third in with breach all the time. So yeah, I think he's good on all the agents that he plays actually.
Yeah, he's definitely doing pretty well right now. Okay, with that said, anything else we should go through, you think, Mike, from our list of things?
This is kind of like a force buy round where they force buy an op because they just got their money broke, and then
Mhm.
I think they do double hookah, and then they just do like a really good. It's kind of like a timing, but also a really good read where they know that Sentinels were trying to pressure for hookah control, and then when they fall off, they just more of that CT aggression that we've seen from both sides now.
Nice. Let's run it then.
I was
The
kind of
fourth,
hoping this would be like the new overtime rules because I feel like this game could have gone on way longer. But this was just the best of one or like MR1 format when they played this.
I do love the force buy on the operator. That's something that's always like really fun in Counter Strike as well. Just like finding the ways and the tactics to kind of try to get the most out of it. Do you want to use it conservatively? Do you want to use it and to also kind of aim to save the gun, or do you want to try and really just go ham with it and just commit it into winning the round? And they do have it on the A site at the moment, so we'll have to see. Given that we get this sort of default pressure again, which has been working out like pretty well. I feel like do we feel like the defaulting has been more effective from Sentinels on the offense versus Immortals? I feel like it's been generally better, but both teams have suffered from these pushes. We actually see it right
Yeah.
now on the minimap where they actually get abused in those holes in their play.
I don't know. I mean, they both kind of have their things that they have flaws in. So it, I think both have their own style, and I think they could work depending on the opponent. They could be reads. It's hard to say. You know, you think Sentinels is better?
I think what they have is more versatile. I feel like what Immortals were doing was kind of predictable. But I said the game's really close, so it's working out for them well enough, I suppose. Gangster with that force ball operator. It's making it work. Do we think that the force buy on the operator is something that's better in this game or better in CS in these kinds of scenarios? Like in like theoretically speaking, do we think there's more options and advantages to gain out of this, or can you get shut down more easily as well in Valorant?
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say. Like if it. Do you think it's easier to get shut down in this game? I
I mean,
think.
in theory, there's lots of ways to shut down like one operator, like especially if you don't have to worry
Yeah.
about the other players as much.
I guess so, right? It is kind of possible to just feel shut down in this game, like more than in CS. There are some games in CS I've played where it's like this isn't solvable on the fly. Like we'll never figure this. Like
Yeah.
the utility is just like bogging you down like round after round after round, and it doesn't seem like there's like any openings. You know, you just need like an individual play. Um, but this game, I feel like that can happen more. Like I feel like there's going to be tons of rounds where it just seems like there's no solution. Yeah, I do think that that could happen in this game, and it makes it seem you just get like snowballed on.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I don't really like haven't really thought about it much. If there's a world that exists that is actually could make sense that maybe you know you like in this game because you can do a lot more tactically. You can create a lot more because of the agent synergies with less money than in CS. At least it feels like to me. I do wonder if there's this like there's this strategy of just being able to like like have enough money so you force buy guns like a gun like a vandal or a operator an operator on rounds where you would be on an eco otherwise. Maybe there's an agent where you don't care on the on you know if they have as much like you don't always need to put them on a vandal. Maybe it's like your hot player on nuke on CS in CS:GO where it's like sometimes you can have certain positions where a player can be the bank of the team where they don't spend as much on their weaponry because they don't have to. So it gives them effectively like an extra gun for the team in the long term. So I'm just thinking about stuff like that. Obviously these are questions that this game's so young, so we won't necessarily see the answers to these questions yet. But it's interesting to think about.
I think the like utility not dropping when you die it just has such a massive effect on like those type of swing rounds because it's like even if I don't or if I use all my smokes around before his brim, next round I get one for free. Imagine CS if you just got like one smoke for free on a force buy or an eco. That would change things like so much. And then you add in like someone got this or they saved this utility. Like you can like kind of compile something together. And it's not like we've seen already like different guns that aren't very expensive, like the Ghost and the Bucky. They're just so viable in like so many different situations. The Stinger just melts people with rifles, so I feel like it's gonna be like easier to swing rounds in this game, and we're kind of gonna have the same issue in
That's
CS,
true.
like
That's
with the
very
force
true.
buy meta.
Like in CS, when you're saving, your chances of winning the round go from like, like say like 50-50 to, like literally like 10%. Like you're very unlikely to win a save in CS, right? There's only so many things you can do with the utility. Whereas in this game, if you're saving, you probably go for something like super ballsy. That's like weird. Like if you have a jet, you like shorty entry into somewhere with like a dash. That's not like you're plummeting from like a 50% win rate to a 10% win rate. Like you're totally changing the style of the game by doing something like that. I think, yeah, it is easier to win like those types of rounds in this game. You're right, because of the utility.
And then you throw in an ult, like that round we watched before where they had the Brim and the Sova ult, it can just like swing, because the ults almost
Yeah.
have more power sometimes than an actual full buy, depending on how you use them or what info you have.
Dude, that's actually crazy. I've never like thought this deeply about this. It's actually pretty crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of variance in those rounds in this game. It's definitely not cut and dry. I mean, like the second round is different, like the round after pistol round, because the other team can't really invest much. But the ones like late in the game, like after like the fifth round, those rounds aren't as cut and dry as they are in CS. If a team actually has like some kind of coordinated push, like those are probably pretty difficult to deal with.
With that said, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to show, Mike, but we can do some closing thoughts on this VOD review and the game that we watched. So yeah, jump in if there's another round you want to show, but otherwise, I'll ask the question to you guys. Given what we saw out of the attacks and the defenses of these two teams, do we feel like a meta is being established in any sense of like what's really good right now? And that meta may reflect the play styles that we see because of the compositions that people are running as well on a map like Bind. Obviously, there are certain agents we don't see utilized on Bind. Really, I think Jet's one of them that we can even see like TSM. With Wardell, like although Wardell's so good with Jet, and you almost can just crowbar him into anything. It feels like this is the one map where against a good team, he can get shut down more easily. So in terms of like the meta and how it's developing on a map like Binds, and given what we saw here, what are your thoughts on, are we getting closer to optimal, or is there a lot of stuff that you want to see still? Where are we at?
I don't know. I think the teams are like evolving pretty well, dude. Like they clearly are putting in a lot of work when they think about like how they should set up and the people going in certain places. It like when I critique and stuff like that, I'm really nitpicking, I feel like. Um yeah, it's definitely like you can tell there's tons of trial and error in their game, probably in their scrims, and they finally like narrowed it down to these things work. I'm really impressed with how quickly the scene has come along, like on an esport level. How about you? Like, do you think the quality of like what we've been watching is high?
I think what's really interesting to me is like just seeing the years of CS:GO, like being there at the beginning of CS:GO and just kind of watching how long it took to get to the certain periods that it did, and then seeing how like certain errors in CS:GO were cemented by specific teams, and those teams were the apex of certain play styles. Like initially you had NIP and then Fnatic as the two most dominant teams, and they were very individual in their play styles. And then you had a team that was able to refine it even more, adding in like an incredibly strong mid game decision making, which was Fnatic, and adding more team play into it. And then there was just this era for ages of just individualism in that sense, people trying to copy that formula. And then the tactical teams started to emerge, and we were like, "Oh, thank God we're being saved because these teams know how to throw grenades, and they know actually how to like construct good tactics." So we had like Navi's, and we had the Brazilian team with Fallen's SK, and then so it's like there's over years we got these developments, and it took years for like good utility usage to come through and good protocols. But I do actually feel like we're seeing a much faster development in this game, Although I think we saw some of those rounds where you guys are critiquing that one round in particular where Raze jumps out through a cage on Hookah and it kind of looks kind of sloppy on the lack of coordination behind the utility. But that kind of did already seem like an on the fly adjustment that they weren't prepared for. So we can't expect Astralis of Valorant just yet. But I do feel like we're getting to a place where teams are actually doing a lot of work, and we're seeing much more coordination than I thought we would by now. So I'm actually pretty impressed, and we're getting some good, exciting games because of it.
Yeah, I'm super impressed, dude. Like, I think these teams are really fucking good.
I wonder, like, who's going to come out of some of the Asian regions, because I feel like in this game, much more so than in a game like CS, just for many reasons. I have to go into all the reasons why, but I feel like the Asian region's going to like hit us with some teams, and we're just going to be like, our minds are going to get blown when we get to have competitions like that. Well, I guess like the only thing that's really stopping us from already having that maybe is because of COVID, and we can't have like these global lands, these international lands yet.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I'm skeptical about like how the game is going to evolve and like in the different regions. Like, I don't know, just because I guess I'm a little bit biased as like a CS player, right? Like how the regions panned out. Like the Asian region never really came up big at the majors and like the big tournaments. I'm curious if it's going to change in this game.
My hope is that it would, because it's possible to do more crazy stuff and have it work.
Yeah.
Whereas in CS, I felt like the Asian teams didn't. It took them too long to. They didn't have enough good competition to play against, or they didn't have also the access, I think, to all of the English language resources that were out there to know how to play map control, position, tactics, and really understand like why the top teams are doing a lot of the stuff that they were. Because I remember whenever I would look at the Asian region, I'm like, it feels like these guys don't understand map control and information.
Yeah.
Like we were, because now we see it's like super critical, and every single top team you have to have it. So I feel like in this game, it's a bit easier to understand, and a bit more flexibility is possible how
That's
you
very
execute.
true. It is. I don't know. I felt like the only thing that stopped like Asian CS from winning an event isn't like aim, it's not tactic, it's not like early round approach. It's like their late rounds look so messy. Like the way they play like 1v2s and like 3v3s, like weird stuff like that. I don't know. They play hyper aggressive and those people like peek out and they don't like play scenarios correctly. It's weird. And I don't know if that's gonna change in this game or not.
Yeah, hopefully we get to find out soon enough.
I do think they're the best, like, aimers. I'm not gonna lie. Like, those guys from Tyloo are incredible.
On their
Yeah.
5-inch mouse pads.
All right. Well, with that said, Mike, any person that hasn't really kind of responded to that initial question of, what, like, are you impressed with the level we're seeing right now? Are we seeing a version of the game that's actually fairly advanced?
I think right now it's just really refreshing every time I watch one of these matches, especially when I'm trying to review it. And it feels like each team just has a totally different identity or approach to every map. It doesn't feel like, because like sometimes in CS, there's just things that work, and people kind of copy and paste the same kind of meta on different teams. But in this game so far, it feels like, especially in this game, there's like at the start of the beta when everyone was playing bind, everyone's like, okay, you need B long control like most rounds. And on Sentinels attacking side, they were just like, we'll allow you to have that basically like every round, and then we'll plan around that. Whereas Immortals were just taking that constantly round after round.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I think we're all like pretty impressed. Okay, I can't wait to see what we have next week. Obviously, it's this Saturday. We will also have our typical episode of Immortal Minds. Hopefully, we'll get that new agent to play with. Maybe get some more information. We'll probably talk about it because we already have some info regardless. So, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will be back on Saturday. We have a Twitter account now as well, so make sure to go and follow that. And that is, hang on, what is this? Immortal Minds. I think we have a link on the channel now.
Yep, Mortal
And
Minds
so
TV.
go follow that, and make sure that you stay up to date with all of the content. We'll be adding a lot more. So Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.